Hey, so I've been thinking about this story about this man who was blind, and he was blind from birth. And the village he lived in had this belief that a lot of villages had, which is that when somebody was born with a disability, that there was something wrong with like their family, and their family must be like cursed in some way, and that the disability is like a punishment.
Brings me great joy.
But one day, like a healer arrived in this village, and I'm gonna call the healer, use the pronoun they, because honestly I kind of envision this healer as like having both a masculine and feminine spirit. And the healer arrives, and and the blind man asks them, like, what's wrong? Like, why did this happen? You know what I mean? And the healer says, what do you mean? Like, nothing's wrong with you. Like, you were blessed. You were blessed with the ability to see things that people with the regular sight can't see, And after that, the man started to be able to actually see, like he wasn't blind anymore. And the village, of course, instead of saying like, wow, like what a miracle, you know what I mean? They said, no, this can't be. Like, that's not the man who we knew growing up who was blind. That's a doppelganger, like somebody who looks like him, but it's not him. They literally couldn't believe. And so I guess I'm saying this because I think that at times, like, there are three characters in this story. There's the blind man, there's the healer, and there's the village. And I think at times we are one of those three. Sometimes we're the village. We're judging, we're not believing, we're thinking the worst, we're cynical. Sometimes we're the healer. We're the ones kind of giving a fresh view from the outside, an outsider, a stranger, showing up to town and saying, no, this isn't the way it is. Maybe almost like a time traveler from the future, where they know that actually blindness is not a curse, or disability is not a curse, right? That's like an old kind of superstitious way of thinking about the world. And then I think sometimes we are the blind man. We are unable to see, because remember, the blind man is blind when the healer shows up, and he doesn't regain his sight until after the healer leaves. So he never actually saw the healer, and yet he believes, right? And I think that that's important to kind of understand. Like, my grandmother, she was born severely physically handicapped. Like, one leg was like a foot shorter than the other. Literally, she lived like the first like few weeks of her life in a hospital bed. But she was mentally sharp as a tack her whole life. She actually graduated from Brooklyn College when she was like 16 years old or something, when like she was like one of the first women to even graduate from Brooklyn College. And she was brilliant. She became a social work professor, right? But the man that she married, my biological grandfather, her first husband, was born with a severe mental disability, but physically he was like pristine. Like, this guy like rode motorcycles, like he was like a total man's man, So she was physically disabled but mentally perfect, and he was the opposite. He was mentally disabled and physically like a specimen, And so they got together, and the point is that they had a bunch of beautiful, healthy, intelligent, loving children. And my mother is one of those children, and no one's more beautiful and smart than her. So my point is sometimes I think that we still, as a society, are like that village, that we think that when when we see a disability, it's an indication that there must be something wrong. There must be something wrong with that family. You know, and I don't think it's like that. I think that it's much more nuanced than that. I think there's a lot more, to it than that. And that's sort of what's moving me to make this next transition for Rio Jones, which is going to be about oral histories, and it's not going to be about writing. So when I say that that was the last piece of writing that I put up, it's not the last piece of writing that I'm going to do. I'm just going to be doing it in a different way, and I'm going to be putting it up somewhere else. I'm going to be putting it up on mamaplum.com. And so I'll still post when I put things up. But, you know, it used to be, like in the time of that village, that, you know, writing or literature or stories or storytelling or poems, they were spoken and sung, you know. So I think part of what's moving me to make this transition is, first of all, I do want to evolve. I want Rio Jones to evolve, and I am Rio Jones, you know. I am Jacob Rio Jones, Nemzer Sandler Ben Yaakov Ben Chaim Ben Abba Mendel, Yaakov Ben Chaim Ben Abba Mendel, and that's who I am, and that's who my family is, and that's my full name, and I want to embrace all of that. You know what I mean? I want to tap into the voice. I love voices, and I love talking to people about their stories, about their family histories, and that's sort of where I plan to go with this, you know. And like, I don't know, I have a lot of faith. It's like a thing with me, and it's not like a religious thing necessarily, you know. It's more of like a non-denominational kind of faith, and so I just am kind of putting this out there, like into the universe, like that I think that there's going to be more to come from this page and from Rio Jones and from myself, and I'm excited, and I'm nervous too, but I have this piece of land now where I plan to make a studio and a chapel, a non-denominational spiritual chapel, and a library and a Zen garden, and that's just sort of like where this is going. And I guess this is like the best way for me to, hey buddy, little doggy, and that's the way I see this going, you know. And so I hope that you hang out with me a little bit more. I'm not going to be like posting like a million times a day for good reason, but like yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all, and you know, what can I say? Like, I love you guys. I love the opportunity to have this community. You know, I was just telling a friend, I've never like been in a group chat before, so this is like my group chat. If I ever want to like send something out into the ether, there's, you know, it's a small group of people, I think, that can tap into, you know, stories and everything, but I think that could grow a little bit. Like, I think that people do, you know, love listening to that kind of thing. So anyway, all I'm trying to say is I love you guys. This is a really spiritual time of the year, as you hear those birds, like spring is kind of coming, you know, and it's like rebirth and all that stuff. So I think that it's a perfect time to do this, and yeah, and just thank you for being here with me. And if this is something that, you know, speaks to you and that you're interested in, that's what's coming from this page, is Mama Plum, an oral history sort of center and depository, where that's the way that we're going to share, you know, writing and literature, and so yeah, and I hope that community does continue to grow, so that we can share our stories with each other and even document them, and and just continue to find beauty and meaning and joy in this life, and peace and love and all that good stuff, and happy almost springtime.